Excellent, I believe. Trying to check a few things out, guys. Sorry. And we'll get right to it. Okay. So let's see how it goes, I guess. All right. Alright, guys, sorry about that. I was getting my drawing tablet in case I needed it. So this is empty right now, and in fact, you can't see my other monitor. But I have I imported some things from another project that I'm definitely gonna have to um clean up real quick. So failed to create device file. Okay. So a bunch of stuff that I was just, learning and teaching myself with them. Just documenting a quick process of what exactly I'm doing and why, and where it's gonna be in the future. But you see, it's this console probe. Device file. HD. See, I have a. These would be nice to have. Let me just. Okay. We should be good. Okay. Sweet. Yep. And one more test. Good. All right. Awesome. I actually did it before I started the stream. So I'll just trip out a little bit. But so what do we have here? So I have this whole other. I'm going to be using my GitHub here a lot. I have a lot of stuff on here, some public, some private. It's alex.zip. I might make it all public one day. Probably just should. Really, there's no reason not to have it. But if you guys want to look at any of this, it's kind of just what I learn off of. I use a lot of the stuff in here, just um as reference, and it's where I've learned a lot of, or where I've kept a lot of the data that I've learned for use on multiple devices, because a lot of it's mostly on this external hard drive. Yeah, you guys don't need to see all my files. But let's get started. Back to Unity. I have this whole other screen that you guys can't see, but I'm gonna be using a lot. I could make it all just one, but like, actually, I wonder if there's a better way to do this. Actually, what if I did this, right? And then, hold on, hear me out. Hear me out. Wait for this. I'm gonna go boom. Gonna add display capture. Add source. Add a new source instead. Wait for it, guys. It's gonna be this one. I think I think that'll work, right? Like you can get any dope backgrounds, anything you can put in the background to make it look cool. What you guys? I don't really have anything. Uh, what if I don't even know. What well, you just have to live with it. This is what it's gonna look like. Um, I'll pay a graphic artist for something if if you want to provide. But other than that, let's get to town. Now you guys can see everything. Also I need my rainbow folders ASAP. Um, I guess I could have just moved everything to one screen, but it's not really that much fun. I use a lot of for my test games. I use a lot of tile sets that have like thousands of different tiles on them. So when slicing, it can take a while. That's why I imported them from another project because I actually found that to be a little bit faster than slicing them each time. Which, as I said out loud, logically makes sense. But like slicing is just a click of one button, but the software does it. I don't like go through and slice them, but it just takes a while. And like honestly, I have no clue. I'm running a lot of different things right now that are gonna be I don't know. What is he? That was weird. What is your phone? Oh, okay, whatever. I was like, what the hell? All right. I just want to make sure some of these apps I've installed recently have just don't aren't killing my shit. All right. Yeah, we good. Okay. So first, let's rename this scene. I'm gonna name this Sandbox. That's my preferred um name. And I actually Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just grabbing my text references so um I can framework this properly. Okay. So we're going to need to create a bunch of folders. Initially, I'm going to put this console folder into the plugins folder. One of them is going to definitely be called animations. So let's get in here, create folder, animations, create one for scripts. Keep everything organized. Audio. That is the layout I prefer. And then in materials, I have this. I can bring these over to fonts. I'll bring this over to sprites. These over to audio. Some materials bosses. See characters. We'll bring in two sprites. Items, GFX. Objects. No, we'll keep them in here. All right, so these are just going to be some basic pixel art packs that I'm going to be working with. You guys, if anyone has done game development before, I'm sure that you've seen them before. Or you probably used them before if you follow game development or play a bunch of indie games. Okay. I think we're finally ready to like actually get started. All right. So I'm back now. Hopefully this is a little bit better quality. I was looking at it and I really couldn't even see like what was going on screen. So I'm hoping now. Um, Yeah, so hopefully now we can actually like kind of see what's going on more on stream. So first things first, I'm also gonna get Cinemachine in here as well. The last thing to import, and then we um this is just gonna make camera a lot smoother and easier. However, I have not yet mastered Cinemachine in RPGs, so I may have to reference some things, but it'll be fun. We're gonna probably start with no, we'll probably. So most of what we're doing is gonna be pretty much managed. I don't know why that. It's gonna be pretty similar to this here, right? And let me just pen just to show you. So like we're gonna have everything is gonna be like an entity. So you're having these are just kind of the things that we're tracking here. We have name, age. Oh my god, I haven't written this with this thing in so long. Oh man, I'm just gonna undo. But we have name, age, faction, occupation, level, health, strength, magic, defense, speed, damage, armor, number of attacks, weapon position, take damage, attack, and the player itself will receive all these and then have their own inventory skills and money to be managed. This was one of my other kind of oh snap, I don't want to do that. I didn't mean to be on. All right, so this is one of my one of my other uh like test projects. So the one thing I hate about this thing is I always have to I want to get a nicer what's it called? Drawing, and so that way I can kind of do this differently. Fuck. All right. Man. So we're gonna go from RPG learning. Yeah, I've been drawing in a while. Usually I warm up right from drawing just by like kind of like drawing squares. Right, like if I can't do this. Get the hang of it after a while. Like where you're at in the world. And maybe like I drawn a few like let's try cylinders. You know what I mean? Just kind of trying to draw and get familiar with where I'm at. Okay. Just give me a sort of feel for things. So now I'm gonna write this cleaner because I feel like I have a feel for it. From learning projects. Okay. Alright. Distractions are focus time. Cinemachine's in. Alright, so let's create a 2D object, create a tile map. We'll call it ground. And let's get our rule tiles set up. So where is it on this one? Tile palette. I gotta get the rule tiles actually. I probably have it on my gets actually. I have it in this one? No, I fucked up my get ignore on this one is not proper. Um, I'm streaming unlisted. No, cool. Um, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need it from there. I know where to get it from though. I'm gonna have to just go to this. You can get it right here. It is. These guys make amazing tutorials, by the way. GameDev.tv. Learned a lot from them in their courses, but I was adding rule tiles. Yes, I believe it's this. So good old WinRAR. Never buy it. And this is their whole tile map. I don't want that. I want this Unity 2D extras. Yeah, this is what I want. And then I believe I just download it and install it. Yeah. I think I have this downloaded actually already on my computer. Yeah. So I'll download and put that into the probably the plugins folder, right? Yeah. I'm a new game developer, guys. I don't want to be expecting like some expert stuff, just documenting the learning process. That's about it. It's all right. I should now. I need to remember exactly how. So we're just gonna do test palette. So, and then I usually put this in the scenes folder. I should have just done this, right? Do palettes. Create one for. I ignore my spelling if it's terrible. I'm pretty sure I spelled palette wrong, right? Yeah. Okay. And then this is a part that takes a minute. So all right, so which one do I want to start with? Do I want to do this one or yeah, I definitely want to do one. Okay. One's my favorite. I shouldn't call this test palette because renaming it's gonna be ass. I'm gonna create a new one. If we're doing this one as test palette, we're gonna do a safer import or there's a cleaner one or faster one in case it's not. Oh God. Here's the padded one though. I was looking for this. See, all right. I am gonna do this to how many are there total? 1,000 of this one as well. Okay, hold on. The cave's got to be quick, right? Yeah, cave can be quick. Um, assets, scenes, palettes, test palette, select folder. All right, so this is like the longest thing in in terms of like imports, man, is making these tile palettes, but getting them set up makes things so much faster later on. So we're really just taking time now to save us a lot of time later on. And if I end up making this thing improperly through, along the way, just let me know. I'm gonna rename this. And I really, really do want to emphasize that this may not be the best way to do things, and that's why I'm documenting it, right? Because I want to share my what I've learned so far and how I'm doing it, and I want to learn. So, if you guys know of better ways to do things, please, please tell me, and I'll do that. So I don't want this to be like in a sort of like educational videos for other people to learn how to do it. You're certainly welcome to watch and use them as ways to learn if you can learn from other people's mistakes and stuff. But um, if you're watching the stream or the VOD later on, or the videos that I may or may not trim down and upload, um, if you're watching these, then don't. I lost my train of thought. LOL. If you're watching these, don't take these as the best ways to be making your own game, and don't be using them as a way to learn how to make your own game. I'm from scratch if you don't really know what you're doing, because there's really not it's not going to be the best practices. I'm trying to learn myself. I basically started this whole game development journey when COVID hit, when the world shut down. Had a lot of free time, and really gaming hasn't been clapping for me. New Call of Duty's kind of just frustrates me in general, and I've known how to program, and I've been relatively unsatisfied with my work life. And I want to do more things with like software development and stuff, and game development itself is just fun and a fun way to learn it, and I enjoy doing it in my free time. So let's try to make this a rule palette. So this imported very well, just how I wanted it to. Now, see if I can remember how to do it. I don't want. Do I have to import something? All right. Give me the. Yeah, okay. That's what I was looking for earlier. We'll do it near somewhere. What's it here? I feel like. See, I didn't do it right. Wait. Boom. We'll we're good. All right, I know what I'm doing. I don't. Oh, that was just a waste of time to begin with. So, first things first. We're gonna get just the actual thing set up. Because it just has to be done. I'm gonna duplicate this as opposed to editing this one in case it doesn't work. 'Cause I'm not going through the resplice. It's gonna take a second to duplicate as well. Oh man. Mm. Why is okay? It named them oddly perfect. That's strange. Okay, I don't. Okay, we're just gonna keep myself sane, honestly. As you can see, this is why doing this now is important because every time you change these, it takes a long time, and really, I don't want to how to say this? Not the best with words. 'Cause I'm thinking about my game right now, but I don't want to have to take time later on to fix it. Or take the time later on to edit it because it takes so long to make edits. And another good reason I'm thinking of now that I'm going to say it of why you shouldn't be using this as a way to learn how to make your own games because I am not annotating everything I'm doing, right? Like I just edited this pixel size to 32 by 32 and I'm going to edit the padding here. I know I said earlier that's what I'm doing, but I'm really not like instructing through it. So like don't take this as that. I'm adding a padding of 5 because that was like what I estimated the other one to be when I saw the cave import. When you saw I imported the cave one and the other tile sets in the sprite editor I was looking at earlier in the stream. You can scroll back if you want to. But and I'm going to do my best to annotate as much as possible just to make it entertaining. But I'm probably not going to be doing everything. But I'm going to hit apply, and this is probably going to take a second. I really don't know, but I need a granola bar. I'll be right back. I'm definitely not getting the granola bar now because as I walked away, I saw it finished and I realized that that was not the long part. The long part is creating this because it creates a bunch of new files. And I am just getting nervous. So this is the Hyptosis 1 padded tile set that I'm going to create. I'm going to put it in my assets folder. Scenes, palettes, and new folder. Hyptosis -1. Okay. Boom. And then I should be able to. This is the one, right? No, it didn't. Ah, I did the wrong one. That's hilarious. Well, at least I know now that it doesn't take this long to do this part. At least I know for sure. I mean, I think I knew that before. I just took a vacation recently, so like I kind of forgot a few things. But it is still like a little bit slow. I mean, I do have a lot going on. I can completely close this. Okay, there we go. We'll bring in Hyptosis 1 because this has a lot of what we're going to need to work with. And we'll put it in scenes palettes. Hyptosis 1. And then we'll put this one. Because that is actually what it is. And we'll put the rule tile in its own things. That way everything is properly organized. Now this one's going to take a while because it's 650 tiles. Now I'm going to get my granola bar. All right, guys, I'm back, and as you can see, this is only about like a third of the way done. But hoping since at the sprite editing, since I've noted that it's actually faster, I'm hoping that that means if the padding doesn't work the way I think it's going to work, it should be a faster change. But it does have to overwrite all those files, because the reason this takes so long is because this is creating a bunch of different individual files for all these, beyond the ones that are already here. It's creating tile asset files. This is like the material file, and I'd maintain these in the build. They're not really that big of files, right? They're really tiny files. But the point is that generating these new tiles takes some time. And if I have to edit these in the sprite editor over here on my left hand screen, actually, you know what I can do for you guys to make just I can make this viewing experience a million times better. Let me to the desktop. Show me the desktop. Oh, I don't want the whole thing on desktop. Um, I lost with this. What I want to do is you want to end up deleting the asset files you don't end up using later on. So I'm going to delete some of the test ones I don't end up using, but the reason I added the padding to it is to avoid this like tearing that Unity has in its anti-aliasing and just like in its tile maps in general. I'm sorry, not an anti-aliasing. My brain got ahead of itself. So let me just disregard what I just said. So Unity has like this tearing in the tile maps. By default, and there's a few solutions to it, and adjusting the anti-aliasing is one of the solutions I've read about online. It sometimes works for me, sometimes doesn't. Really depends on what asset pack I'm using. Another solution that does usually work for me, I'd say about 95% of the time, is turning off the or lowering the cell gap to like a really low amount, or to a slightly negative number, like negative 0.999 or 0.0001. I'm sorry. And on all X, Y, and Z. I guess Z doesn't matter. What this does is it makes each cell slightly override the one next to it. In effect, or not override, overlap, I'm sorry. It makes each cell overlap. So when you look, I'm going to go back into Unity, if it'll let me. It won't. Not yet. Not until this import's done. Okay, no, we're good. So if you see how like each one of these is an individual like block, these are all going to be filled with like these tiles on the left here. The left side's probably the best way to see. Imagine this was like a map, a really poorly designed map, right? But if you're like in the world up here on the left, let me do my cursor trail first. Left button down. I don't want that. All right, this works, I guess. All right, so red is where I'm moving. Blue's, I guess, where I'm clicking. Yeah. Okay. So if you kind of see like in here, right, where my red dots are, right? Um, these are what we use to make the map, and with the anti-aliasing, you can kind of see it with this padding effect, right? Is you have them slightly overlap each other, so that way you don't see that tearing, because that tearing occurs when the camera moves. and the tile maps like is kind of staying still, which is like the world, right? It's a static object. It kind of stays still, right? Um, so what happens is, um, I, okay, I don't like these red dots as well. But what happens is they overlap instead, and it kind of removes that tear because the tear comes from them not being like there's just a little bit like a real tiny gap. But when the camera moves, it kind of exposes that gap and makes it be seen. I can't do the red trail, but what I can do is I can make the cursor a little bit bigger. Um, it's just too much. And I'll add a shadow. Make the shadow bigger, and I'll make like the cursor itself a little bit bigger so that you guys can see it more. All right, there we go. Okay, yeah, that works. I can make it red. All right. So yeah, so the padding kind of does effectively that as well, as it makes the cell size like a little bit smaller, and then they should overlap. Now, what the reason I'm concerned about that, going back to the beginning here, the reason I'm concerned about that is that my uh I didn't make that other tile set. It was downloaded from online from one of the learning classes that I took on Udemy, and I just noted that it was padded. I don't think anything else was done to it, and from my reading and experience in Unity, I don't think anything else really can be done. But like, I don't know. So I'm trying it myself here. I'm adding the padding. Like, it just seems kind of weird that the how is me shrinking the size of the box, right? Like how's it noting what's outside the box? Like it wasn't like that little green like so when you're in the sprite editor, there's two boxes. There's the white box on the outside that you can kind of see on the screen on the left in the little viewport, which I can't edit because this thing's importing. And then there's a green bar, right? It's the green bar is kind of like does something different in terms of when you stretch it, it determines like what isn't and isn't what is and isn't expanded when you go and stretch it. I'm wondering if since the cell size is still 32 by 32 but the padding is say 5, that it's still reading the outside of it even though like both bars are in. I would imagine it would only bring one box in, but it just to my intuitive brain it seems like for the intuitive side of my brain it seems like that those white boxes, each cell is determined by what's inside those white boxes. 'Cause if I move those white boxes around, it'll forget about what was there before, and will that name, the name of that box, will be a completely different set of images, and you can have them overlap if you want. So we'll see if this works. That didn't really make much sense. I know I kind of went a bunch of different directions. That's why I'm not a teacher. That's why I'm not a teacher. We just don't want them to overlap. Or we do want them to overlap. And we just want to make like how's it gonna read what's outside that white box? How does it know what's outside the white box? Isn't the white box what determines what's on the inside? It looks clean. Right? I'd say it looks pretty clean. It's a little bit separated like that. I've seen that effect before, but let's see how it goes in. Right? I mean, might be a better one. All right, looks good. I don't see any tearing so far. Works for me. All right, so we're gonna entirely undo or delete all this though. In fact, we can do this. Quick way to make a faster delete button is just hit I, select how big you want it to, or get a sample of how big you want your tile palette to be, and switch to delete because your delete's always as big as your most recent tile sample. So then we'll set it back to 1. So we're gonna make a rule tile. And now that is going to really help us out later on because, excuse me, that is gonna we're gonna make a rule tile because, and that is going to really help us out because it'll make it so we don't have to individually assign these, right? I normally what I've done in my other games is I would literally hit this edit button here because when you import these tile palettes, it kind of like breaks them up a little bit. I'd edit these, and you have to be really meticulous on how to I'd select all these, right? And go to the move tool, and it was so important on how together they were, and I probably would still do this just because it really does just make it easier to visualize the whole thing, but it's not going to be as important going forward because we're going to have everything in a rule tile, so that way going forward it'll be smart. So normally we would do this, right? And then if we wanted to make, say, this kind of looking effect, we would take this middle one, go around here like this, and then then we'd have to sample, or we're gonna leave edit mode. Just clear the console from playing. Should be good. Okay. Right. And then we would have to, if we want this top one, right, on the top, we'd have to do this and this, put that one there, and granted, that is just having the tile palette and being able to do that's faster than the alternative that the tile palette is meant to replace, which is literally going over here. And then we use this one, so we can actually delete this to my knowledge. Going in here, right? And normally people would do is you would go in here and you would just drag each one in individually. And for certain objects, maybe that'll be good, right? But it's not gonna be for us. It's gonna take too much time. So we made a tile palette, but even the tile palette's gonna take too much time. So I'm gonna make a rule palette, and a rule tile. We're gonna call it Tosis. We're gonna call it Desert Ground. And this is gonna be our rule tile. So on the left here, I believe we now need to select a starting sprite. I believe it should be all right. So this is not the most efficient way to do that. The best way to do it is to go back into materials here. And what is it called? It is called 45 revert. Oh wait, I think I need to do this first. All right. Now we're in here. We can think about how we want to build this. So this one is always going to be in the middle. This is All right. So there's I believe this is how we should do it. I'm just gonna double check because I've only done it in this one. Rule fix. What is this game option? I'm imagining it's gonna be the tile set. That's the only thing I can think of. So we're just gonna add some more. Again, we're taking the time now to save us the time later on. I'm gonna lock this. Just go in here. I guess we didn't have to do that, right? Like, I thought there was a better way to do it. That kind of sucks. Okay. That's 45. This one's probably 44, right? Zoom in a little bit. Yeah. There we go. We can see more now. Probably better. Okay. Where's 45? 67. There's 45. And there's 44. Okay. So 44 will have one on the left, right? It's a blade. We'll have one above it. All right, I can't do the delay either. I feel like it's adding some problems. No, it's not. It's just Unity being slow. It's gonna have one to the left. It's gonna have one beneath it, right? Creating the tile palettes takes some thinking, ladies and gents. Let me tell you that. This is the top right.